What is up guys, Max here, and welcome back to another tutorial. As you can see, we are doing a simple yet pretty cool logo reveal, I think. Yeah? So, all made in After Effects, looks pretty chill, works for most videos. Let's learn how to make this thing. As always, feel free to download the project file on my website. Other than that, feel free to follow along and make this thing. Gonna learn you something. So I have After Effects open and I have the final project file here that I created, and you can see that there's not too much going on. A couple of different layers, some pre-comps. I currently have this PlayStation logo in here, but you can literally, the way we create this, you can dump any logo in here quickly, which is pretty cool. So you'll have like your logo comp, not that. Your logo comp, you just change this. Let's say we wanted to do Domino's Pizza or something, in your final composition, it would just work, which is kind of cool. So that's a couple of the techniques that I want to cover today. Is like templatizing your work, not just doing an animation, but making it into like a template that you can use over and over again for your videos to quickly change it out and not have to re-edit the animation. That's the way I like to do my work. It works for a team, it works for production, and it just makes sense in the long run. All right, so let's get this started. I've talked too much. It's already been too long. I might just cut most of this out. All right, so let's just start from scratch. So, and anyways, let's imagine your project's completely empty. You're gonna right-click New Composition. Now, for me, because I always work in 4K compositions nowadays, well, just like that 4K. What do you know? 3840 by 2160. You may want to jump yours down to 1920 by 1080. That's totally fine. We'll do that today just for the sake of the tutorial. But the final project that I have online is 4K for all you crazy 4K users. Anyways, we'll keep our frame rate to 60 frames per second, our duration to 10 seconds, our background black, comp 1 for now. We'll change this comp name later depending on how we pre-comp anything, but I always do that just for kicks and giggles. So click OK. All right, so the first thing we need to do is actually create another composition to drop into this one. So you'll right-click New Composition, and we'll do something like 500 by 500. 60 frames per second, 10 seconds long, comp 2, click OK. And let's call this Logo. Now, once this logo is created, we're going to right-click into the layer panel under Logo, New Solid. So we've created a layer inside of the logo comp we created just now, this 500 by 500. Let's change the background color. Let's change the solid color to, like, I don't know, bright red or something. Does not matter at all. Click OK. Now let's jump back to Comp 1, the first one we created, and we will drop Logo in here. Boom, it's directly in the center of our composition. Just like that. We'll turn on our titles and action save to see where it is, and we will actually scale this down a little bit because it's a little too big for me. Right about there. I don't know, 75%, nah, a little smaller. It's all judgment on you, even if you notice how big the logo was in the original. Cool. So what we're going to do now is actually grab our anchor point with the anchor point pan behind tool right here. Grab the anchor point of the shape and move it over to that. Click Control on your keyboard and ping it to the side right there. Then what we're going to do is actually turn this into a 3D layer. Boom, 3D layer. This little button right here, this little square thing, 3D layer. If you don't see it, your layer panel looks like this. So like, where's the 3D button you just showed, Max? I don't know, oh my God. You right click in your source, see your source name right here? There's this big gray bar, right click, columns, and we'll turn switches on, which turns on these three little things. This is motion blur. This is the adjustment layer, effects applied below, blah, blah, blah. Kind of cool button to use. And this is the 3D layer. So we'll do that. And this is our final position where this thing needs to kind of flap on screen like we saw in the original. It should be popping up a little example in the corner somewhere. See, drop the project file in Premiere, it works. So we're gonna go down and we're gonna keyframe our x-axis, I think. Is that our x-axis? Nope, not our x-axis, our y-axis. We'll keyframe our y-axis to 0. So click the little keyframe option there, go back in time, and we're gonna do 90 on our Y rotation to start this thing off. So in 3D, it's actually swinging like a door off of a 90-degree axis. But 90 looks like it's kind of actually behind some. So let's actually move this back to like right at what, 87% or 87 degrees? Perfect. So this actually is going to swing like this. Boom, just like that. Okay, cool. Now that we had that, that's really awesome. We're going to click T on our keyboard for logo. we're going to keyframe the opacity and click U to show all of our keyframes. So, at the very beginning, it's going to be opaque from 0 to 100%. So we keyframe to 100% and we drag it down our timeline. So right there, it's fully showing. And then we'll drag this back down to 0%. So it kind of like fades on like that. If you notice, this thing is like quickly fading on, which is kind of cool. Just like that. Boom. Now what we're going to do is actually take our logo comp and we're going to copy and paste it into our project. So Command C or Control C, and then Command V or Control V. Copy, 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 copy. Now you can do this as many times as you want, but this will create the flappy effect that you see in the beginning of how many layers. I did like 5 in the original. Do as many as you'd like. I'm going to stick to 5 again. So we're going to take 2 through 5 and we're going to drop it onto here. Boom. They're all big and a little too big. So we need to click S on our keyboard and copy the original scale of this one. This 61% it looks like. Yep, just like that. And we also need to actually change the actual keyframe, the anchor point to the sides on all of these. So grab this, Control click, grab 4, Control click, grab 3, Control click, grab 2, Control click. Awesome. Now we're going to actually take the scale, copy the scale, Control or Command C, Command V, Command V, Command V, Command V. I'm saying Command a lot because I'm so used to saying Command from my Mac days, but it's Control. You get used to it. Now we need to actually copy the position because it's actually in the wrong spot. So these are all like over to the left here, so that's pretty easy. Click P on your keyboard, copy the position. Oh, don't delete it. Copy the position. Control or Command C, and then paste, 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 paste. Now they're all in the same position. Exactly what we want. Next, to make this a little different, we're going to jump into each one of these little pre-comps here. So if you highlight all of these and just kind of double click, it'll open them all at once. Our red solid in each one needs to be a different color now. So what we're going to do is actually go to quickly go to Effects and Presets. If you don't see it, you go to Window, Effects and Presets. For all you pro users out there, I know it's annoying, but I do it every time by habit. Fill, and drop a fill on here. And we'll change the fill color to some other different color. Purple is fine. Copy this fill effect, jump to logo 4, paste it, change the color quickly. Logo 3, paste it, change the color quickly. Logo 2, paste it, change the color quickly. I know I've added a step. Oh, are these all the same? It's a little different. Blue. Okay, cool. I know I'm kind of like adding a step here by creating the solid inside of that logo thing because I could go ahead and drop a logo in there, but I don't want to do that. I want to actually kind of do a little more work to make this awesome. So we're going to continue this way. So now what we need to do is click U on our keyboard on the original logo and copy and paste these keyframes to each one of these new layers. Paste, 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 paste. So now they're all going to do the exact same thing. Problem, it's only copying over our opacity right now. So we need to actually copy the motion as well, but it's not working for some reason. We need to turn our 3D layer on all of these, just like that. And now if we copy and paste these keyframes over, it will work. So remember to turn your 3D layer on your new layers you've kind of dragged into here. Happy little mistake. Now they all do the same thing. Now if you can imagine, what we're going to do now is we're actually going to drag logo, the original, onto the top, and we're going to stagger all of these animations. So click U on your keyboard with everything selected, and it shows everything like this. Now I know my screen's scaled and it's kind of hard to see all this stuff, but I'm going to stagger it just a little bit. So we start with this one, and this one's going to be next. I'm not doing this frame by frame perfection. You can do as much as you want, but it looks pretty good. So it's going to be like just like that. Looks good, right? Also, what we're going to do is actually, they kind of overlap each other because you might see like an outline of each one inside of here. So what we do is actually we close off the layers. So as soon as this one finishes, it needs to disappear. So that as soon as the purple finishes, it needs to disappear. So what we do is actually close off the layer by Alt bracket, close that, Alt bracket, close this, Alt bracket, close this, Alt bracket, close this, Alt bracket, close this, which actually makes them kind of disappear as they go. What else I'll do? I'll also do is actually keyframe the opacities of all of, not all of these, but each one. So keyframe the opacity, and then go down on my timeline, I guess about right here, and opacity it down to 0%. So it's actually like fading away as it hits. So you can see the purple fade away right here. And I'll copy and paste these keyframes onto the next sequential layers, which I probably should have did that before I staggered them to make it all equal, the exact same. But you know, it's not a big deal. It's okay. And now to make these frames a little more dynamic. Oh wait, the top one doesn't need to be disappearing. It stays there actually. So. And this also, I don't know why I also cut it off in the frame. That layer needs to be there the entire time. And to make sure we always know this is the main layer so we don't make those mistakes again, we're going to actually click this little label color here and change it to purple, because we know that's our main logo layer. Sweet. What we're going to do now is highlight all of these keyframes. We're going to right click the keyframes, keyframe assistant, easy ease, to give our motion a little more dynamicness, you know. Boom, 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 boom. And it actually flows pretty nice. I actually kind of like that. Sweet. Now, what we're going to do now is do right-click, new composition inside of here. Let's call it place logo here. Just like that. Now let's find a logo. Any votes? Nobody's talking to me. So I've already got logos in here, and I'm going to just drag the PlayStation logo into the place logo here composition, and we're going to have to scale it down because it's really big. So we put this in here. We have place logo here composition that we created. Place logo here, and what we're going to do is actually go to logo 2, 3, 4, and 5 in logo and drop place logo here on each one of these. Place logo here, place logo here, place logo here, place logo here. And now if we turn off all the solids from the originals, I know it's a little bit of clicking to get through all of this, but now we have that one logo comp inside of each one of these that actually flows over, so it's like that. Which, how cool is that? We've made that one place logo here comp that will, if we update, we jump into this, and we drop something else into here, it will quickly, you know, update the logo in each one of those flowy compositions that we created. Now you might be wondering why we made so many different logo comps and we could just copy and paste it each time. I did that for a very specific reason, because we're changing the colors for everything. So what we're going to do is actually go back into logo, or ignore logo, go back into logo 2, 3, 4, and 5, and we're going to duplicate each composition. So Control or Command D on your keyboard. So logo 4, duplicate it, duplicate it, duplicate it. Right. And then we're going to go to our original solids, and we're going to copy and paste the fill effect to the top layer of the logo. So the new place logo here thing. So it's solid green, solid, no, not that one. We want to copy the original. So it's solid blue. Copy, paste, jump red solid, copy, paste, logo 5, copy, paste. Now, this is what's going to make those cool colors we saw before. So we're going to take our place logo here and change the blending mode. And if you don't see the blending mode, as always, columns, I think it's modes. Yeah. So in your gray column here, right-click columns modes, which will open up your blending modes, which is pretty cool, and change your blending mode to classic difference, which makes this cool looking thing. So we changed the classic difference for each one of these compositions, and it turns it into this like cool little like reveal. So in the beginning, if we watch, just like that, we have like a cool thing. Now, what's next in the steps here? What are we missing? Let's look at our final. What does it look like? It's like that. It scales up, moves up, and the text appears. So, I think we've done the hard part, the cool part of this whole thing, but we're going to actually finish this bad boy up. So we got all these. We're happy with these. These are good. What we're going to do is actually right-click New Solid and put a white solid behind this thing. So a little bit off-white, eggshell white, I guess. I don't know what eggshell white is. On the background. Oh, that is not white enough. Oh my god, it's killing my eyes. We will drop a fill on this and change it back to white. I should have selected the right thing. Oh, there's not enough fill. There it is. Fill, effects, red, white. Boom. And for some reason, I like the other logo better. Project. place logo here. Boom, this one. Looks better on white, does it not? Tell me about it. Anyway, so we hit, on this, we hit P on our keyboard. Position. What's it going to do is going to move and scale up. So it, like, you know, once it finishes like here, then it starts to move. It's going to move up about right there. It's also going to scale up. So hit S on your keyboard to keyframe the scale, and then click U on your keyboard. I hear fireworks outside. Sorry for the pause. Then you're going to move down your timeline and actually scale it up a little bit. But when we scale it up, what's going to happen is it's going to scale from its original anchor point, which is kind of a problem because you want it to scale from the center. Super simple. Because we already keyframed the position, we can actually move the position over on the right time, and it actually moves and kind of like eye it, I think. You know, you see this dot kind of line up with this title safe line, which that's in the center. You know, it's center enough for me. Actually, you know, move these down the timeline a little bit so it actually starts later because it finishes the actual flip of the book right there and then goes up. And so it kind of sits for a second, let's say. And then right click, keyframe assistant, easy ease. So we got that. A little too fast. So let's stretch these keyframes out and go down our timeline. Just like that. And boom, now we need our text. I say boom a lot. Do I not? I don't know. Leave a comment. Tell me if I do that too much. Anyways, we need text. So let's turn our title safe off for now because it's kind of annoying. Maybe I might turn it back on. Who knows? Click your text tool up here and click on this, and it puts text out here. I'm going to use this font called Proxima Nova Bold, which you can find a link in the description to download it. Other than that, I think you have to have Creative Cloud to have this font because it's in Typekit, but you can use any font you want. Any font, doesn't matter. This is just what I'm using. We got it at a kind of a darker gray, hashtag number 414141. Is it the hex number, I think? Click OK. We need to make sure that the paragraph is set to center, and then we're going to type whatever.com. Let's type youtube.com. Ooh, all caps, youtube.com. No. / Maxwell. Max. That's a lot of words. It's just too many words. Let's just do the PlayStation. But you still saw the thing with my thing, right? So, PlayStation.com. And yeah, we're good to go. So click that. The actual anchor point's already in the center of this text. So what we can do is go to Align. I don't see a line on my thing. Here it is. Align toolbox. If you don't see it, window, open up your Align toolbox, and let's center this on the composition. So align layers to composition and center it just like that. We want it to be about right here, this yay big. It's going to be this big. Now we need to animate this text so when it actually starts to go up, it appears. But I want to say my original actually kind of moves a little differently. Let's look at the original. Oh, it scales up and then it moves. I'm sorry. I knew it looked different. Hey, that's another way to do it, I guess. You know, that still looks kind of cool. So that's a really easy fix. Happy mistakes, also another way to learn stuff. We made a mistake, how do we fix it? So it needs to scale up and then do its thing. So that's pretty easy. So we need to actually get rid of this position thing. It doesn't need to go up. It just needs to scale. So what it's going to do is actually it's going to just move over. Simple, right? Go to your title action safe. Told you we'd turn it back on. Move it over. And then it's just going to go up. So it stays there for like a half a second, keyframe the position one more time, and then it goes up. Just like that. So it actually kind of like this. Boom. And that was weird. Another weird fix we need to fix. It's like you need to turn all these keyframes off. So highlight all these keyframes, click Control on your keyboard and click. Turn them back all the regular keyframes because they were that. And now I can turn them back to easy ease keyframes to make them more straight. I really hope it makes it work. Yeah, it worked. Look at there. So if you ever encounter that where you like makes new keyframes and to make things like wobbly, just Control click the keyframes to change them back to regular keyframes. Then you can redo the easy ease, and it actually fixes that little wobbly edge error that you get. Yeah, so cool. Now we just need this PlayStation text to do what we need it to do. So at this point in time, it shouldn't be there, and here it should start fading on, or animating on. So what we're gonna do is click down on the PlayStation text right here, click animate right here that pops up, and go to tracking. Opens up this tracking type amount thing, whatever. The final is going to be here, so keyframe the tracking amount. I didn't want to keyframe that, just the tracking amount. I guess I have to, whatever. And then that'll be the final when it actually appears. So it's going to kind of finish right here, start appearing like right here. And tracking is going to be this big, so like kind of like this. So just like zoom like that, right? Cool, huh? And then what we're going to do now is actually click T on our keyboard, opacity, click U like before, and it's kind of scroll on. And we're going to bring this down to 100% right there, and bring this back down to 0% right here. So, boom, like that. Probably stretch these out a little bit. And bring this keyframe out more so it takes longer to move up. Just like that. And right click, easy ease these things because we want that more. Just like that. Now we need to add another effect to make it kind of blurry, fade in kind of thing. So we're going to go to effects and presets, type Gaussian blur, I can't pronounce it right. Gaussian blur, okay. Then drop it onto our text layer. Click E for effect, Gaussian blur. Click blurriness, keyframe it. Click U on our keyboard, see where this stuff starts. Drag this down some. I'd say like halfway is fine. And blur it up. How much does it look like? We want it to be really blurry. Really blurry. So we start off that blurry, right? Start off that blurry. So boom. All right, so right click, keyframe, easy ease. Not bad, right? Not bad. Now you can play with the timing and all that stuff with the keyframes to make it more select to what you want, but we can add a little bit more towards this animation to make it awesome. So in the original and the final, it actually has let's add a new layer under the solid. Let's do like, I don't know, blue's good. And drag it under our logo reveal. What happens is when this thing actually falls on, and let's say it's revealing your video for your gaming channel or whatever your stuff may be, doesn't matter. It scrolls up and it reveals the footage under it. Whatever's under this is going to get revealed. So it's an easy way to transition into your new video, anything like that. We need to create that. Super easy, actually. So we're going to go to our comp one, which is our original. Turn off this tile action safe because we're happy with this. We're happy with all that. Just like this. Boom. What we're going to do is highlight everything except for the white solid. So highlight everything except for the white solid. Right click, pre-compose. Call it, thing prompts up. Call it whatever you want. Let's call this pre-comp _ main because that sounds fancy and professional. Click OK. Then what we're going to do is we're actually going to animate this white solid off screen. So click P on your keyboard for your white solid. Position the white solid. Go down to like 9 seconds and like drag it off the screen. So it's like, let's go to like 33%. Drag it off the screen. So it's like that. Same as before, right click, keyframe assistant, easy ease. And it's going to be like, it's like boom, 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 boom. Up, that. Just like that. It'll be off screen. So, although I do like the way the PlayStation just went up before without moving forward. So let's actually make that real fast. We're going to fix it. Click U on our keyboard. So we need to get rid of this. Get rid of that. Just make this. Move this down. Change that timing. And I fixed it that fast. Look at there. And we can actually make this more dynamic. See, I'm playing with keyframes. This is how this works. We can stretch all this out to like right there. This can finish when this finishes, because that's how that should work. So much cooler. I'll have that version in the final project file that you can download as well. No worries. So boom. Fit. Stellar. And then it sits for a second, and then this thing is going to animate off. It's like, look at that. And then boom, just like that, right? What we're going to do is actually duplicate this white solid, Command D, drag it on top of our pre-comp main, change the track matte option to alpha track matte white solid 2, which means it's only showing through the white solid on top of it. So when this white solid on top of it also animates off, it also makes this disappear. Now, if you don't see your track matte options, like I always say, I always teach this, you right-click in this layer, columns, turn modes on. The track matte options will appear. They should already be there because we turned it on last time, but hey, I like to cover that stuff because this may be the first time you're seeing any of my tutorials, but I always go over the basics with the advanced stuff, just how it works, you know. For all my subscribers who watch my stuff, thank you. You guys are awesome. I'm sorry that I put you through the redundantness of some of my tutorials, but hey, I'm trying to teach here, you know what I'm saying? Okay, so now we have the whole thing that animates off. One last step to make this super fancy, because right now there's no, like, it's just an edge. It's just a hard edge. If you look at my original, when this like starts to animate off, there's almost like a little bit of a blurry edge right here, right? You see that? Look cool, right? We want to go to our, not that, go to our comp 1, and we also highlight everything. Ooh, a new subscriber. We gotta highlight everything. That was the ding for new subscribers, by the way. I got a clock that does the thing. Maybe I'll review it. Ask me if I should. As a tech thing to review. It's kind of cool, right? Right-click. You highlight everything. You right-click. You highlight everything. Sorry, I was on a tangent just now. You highlight everything. You right-click. Pre-compose. Go to type final underscore 1080p. Because, you know, it's a 1080p composition. Click OK. What you're going to do is go to your effects and presets, CC Force Motion Blur. Drop it onto here, and it creates that blurry edge. You can add more of a blurry edge by increasing the shutter angle, so 360. Or if you're really crazy, you can do like 480. And when this plays out, it creates a blurriness, you know, like that motion blur you see in any real cinematic footage, anything like that. It's a slow render, but my computer's doing pretty good, I feel like. You know, it's running through this composition very well. It is kind of blurry on screen looking because of my scaled screen and After Effects not rendering it very well, or my screen not rendering it very well, but when you render this out, it'll look great. And I wouldn't even need to render this out because the process is you save this After Effects file and you just drop it into Premiere Pro. And if you follow a new tutorial I'm making, which I'll put a link in the description, and a video on screen after this video is done, you can see how to easily work with After Effects files in Premiere Pro. Super easy tutorial. Go follow it. It will increase and speed up your workflow, which I need to do a workflow video as well. But other than that, that is how you make this thing. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe my video. I know that's pretty actually a weird thing to ask. Everybody knows that by now. But I really appreciate it either way. Thank you for watching again. I'm Max, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.